Are you ready, guys, ready to go? Dawn,
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I have a Committee of Adjustment and Consent Granting Authority. We have an agenda before us, and I have a motion here for the committee. It's going to be moved by
Corey.
Corey, seconded
Second.
by
Yep.
Dawn. And the Committee of Adjustment meeting of January 12th, 2021. Ooh, New Year. Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah,
Be
same.
declared open and called to order at 5:03 p.m. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay. So we have any updates, Sylvia? I guess we do have. We're welcoming a planning coordinator. This is exciting. Kristen Bartman. Kristen, hi there.
Hi there, Donna. I said hi to everyone else earlier, but hello to you. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, did you want to introduce yourself, a little bit of background, or take a moment, or no?
Sure, just very quickly, I just moved up to Sioux Lookout. I'm originally from Uxbridge, Ontario, and I did my planning degree at Dalhousie University in Halifax. So I've been a little bit of everywhere in the last couple of years, but I'm really excited to be up here now, and I'm looking forward to learning from everybody.
Perfect. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I also am a planner, so I'm very excited that you're on board. It's been a while since we had somebody that had the understanding, and it's good to see nice young new face. Welcome. Okay, so a meeting here today before us. We have an agenda. Is there any errors, amendments, omissions, anything that needs to be added, gentlemen? Are we okay with it? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yep.
we have then a motion on the floor, and I need it to be moved by one of you, Dawn,
Yep.
and seconded by Corey,
Yes.
that the Committee of Adjustment approve the agenda as submitted, and the Committee of Adjustment meeting dated January 12th, 2021. All those in favor?
Good.
And it's carried. Okay, now we have our previous minutes. Oh, first, disclosure of any pecuniary interest or general nature thereof, gentlemen, anything?
Nope, none for me.
With respect to this minor
None for
variance?
me.
Perfect. Myself as well. So therefore, the minutes we're looking at, the previous minutes were from November 3rd. And we need to review those. And if there was any additional business arising from them, I don't believe there was. I took a look at them earlier. I have no comments or amendments or additions. Gentlemen?
Looks good to me.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So then I have a motion on the floor, and it's going to be moved by whom?
Corey.
Corey,
Seconded
seconded
by
by Dom.
Yep.
And that is the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting of November 3rd, 2020 be adopted as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's carried. Okay, that's perfect. Sylvie, is there any delegations today?
There are no delegations.
Okay. So I see we have before us one application, and it's an application of minor variance. It's M07 2020 for 27.5 York Street, as submitted by Mr. Stan Nisley. And he is seeking relief from section 4.29, 4.293, and 4.294 to permit a secondary dwelling unit in in an accessory structure on a lot that does not meet all the standards of the zoning bylaw. I'm not sure, Sylvie or Kristen, who would like to read the report?
Oh, sorry, okay, I can do that, Donna. An application for a minor variance was received from Mr. Stan Misley, 543348 Ontario Limited, owner of the subject lands located at 21.5 York Street, legally known as Plan M220 West, Part Lot 322. The purpose of the application is to permit a secondary unit on an accessory structure on a lot that does not meet all the minimum standards of the zoning bylaw in order for a secondary dwelling unit to be permitted. Description of proposed development. The subject property has a lot area of 460 square meters and a lot frontage of 10 meters on York Street. The subject property contains a mobile home and an accessory building. The applicant is proposing to convert the accessory building into a secondary dwelling. The existing mobile home is 61 square meters in size, and the accessory building is 47 square meters in size. The existing accessory building is located in the rear yard of the subject property. There are 2 parking spaces provided in the front yard of the subject property off York Street. A minimum of 2 parking spaces are required on the subject property. In considering this application, the committee needs to be satisfied that the proposal is in keeping with the 4 tests of a minor variance as set out in the Planning Act as follows. Is the variance in keeping with the intent of the official plan? The subject property is designated as residential in this official plan. There are no new buildings proposed on the lot. The proposal does not result in any changes to the size of the existing buildings on the lot, and secondary dwelling units within accessory units are permitted in the official plan. The proposed variance is in keeping with the intent of the official plan. Is the variance in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw? The subject property is zoned residential type 2, R2 zone. Secondary dwelling units are permitted within accessory dwelling units as of right in the R2 zone if the minimum lot and setback requirements are met. In order to permit the conversion of the accessory building to a secondary dwelling unit, variances are required to the zoning bylaw. Section 4.29 to permit a secondary dwelling unit on a lot in the R2 zone with a frontage of 10 meters, where the minimum lot frontage is 15 meters, and a lot area of 460 meters, where the minimum lot area is 540 square meters. Section 4.29(3), to permit a secondary dwelling unit that exceeds 40% of the gross floor area of the primary dwelling unit. The secondary dwelling unit is proposed to be 77% of the gross floor area of the primary dwelling unit. And section 4.29(6), to permit a secondary dwelling unit that is located 1.8 meters from the rear lot line, where a minimum of 3 meters is required. The proposed variances are in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. Number 3, will the variance provide for a desirable development of land? The subject property is zoned for residential use. The variances do not appear to negatively impact or change the character of the area. The proposed development would appear to represent a desirable accessory use. And finally, is the variance minor? Based on a review of the 3 previous tests, the proposed variances could be considered minor, and the 4 tests have been met.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I need to back up here for the benefit of the applicant. I need to state, and I apologize, it's been a few months since we had a meeting, but I need to state that that this is a public hearing and we hear comments on this minor variance application. We hear comments and evaluate all written submissions. The committee makes the final decision. There's a 20-day appeal period from the date of that decision, and any person who objects to the proposed minor variance may do so in writing to the Secretary Treasurer of the committee and must attach the fee required for the appeal. The appeal will then be forwarded to the local planning appeal tribunal for their review. So that was just some of the official business that we have to get out of the way before we get into our discussion, if you will, on the minor variance that's before us today. So thank you, Sylvia. Were there any other comments or reports that we received on this variance?
Yes, I'll let Jody speak to that.
Jody?
Yeah, we received comments from our Public Works Manager, Andrew Jewell, as follows. Based on the attached map, which depicts the property lines in correlation to the existing buildings, and I understand that the property lines portrayed are not 100% accurate, but can be considered close. Can you please have the applicant demonstrate where parking will be available for the proposed rental unit in the rear of the property, as it appears there isn't sufficient area to park adjacent or behind the existing garage that is proposed to be renovated into a rental unit? So speaking to that first, the intent is for parking at the York Street side of the property, where there's an existing parking area. Also, how will the proposed rental unit in the rear of the lot be serviced with water and sewer? Will services be extended from the existing trailer? If so, there will need to be a backflow preventer installed on the water service at the trailer, similar to what was specified for 2 Hoey Drive. If this is the proposed method for providing water and sewer servicing to the potential new rental unit, there will then be a requirement to have the water meter or the water and sewer billing for 21.5 York Street transferred to the owner's name, unless it already is, as there will be no means to differentiate between the water utilized in the existing trailer and the rear rental unit, with only 1 water meter installed in the existing trailer. Installing a second meter in the proposed new rental unit is not an option for the municipality. Utility invoicing. If the proposed rental unit is serviced from the existing trailer, as there isn't a provision to subtract 1 water meter reading from another to determine individuals' units' water consumption. So I believe the intent is to feed it from the existing trailer. So a backflow preventer kind of through the building permit process will be required and inspected. And those are the only comments received, both government and public.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open it just to my committee, to our committee members. And if there's any discussion myself, I took a look at the lot. Of course, it's a half lot. It's 33 10 meters frontage. And so it is it's very dense, if you will. There's no change though. So I didn't have any concern with that. There's no actual change in infrastructure on the site itself. And it doesn't appear as if the neighbors or the neighborhood or anyone in the neighborhood has any concerns or issues with what is being proposed. There is, and I took a look at the different variances that were being asked, because it appears that there's like 3 of them. And it would appear that a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's existing non-conforming, and it happened well before our bylaws were in place that would have prevented this, right? So I have, on those bases, I have no concerns here. I think that we can proceed. I have no issues aside from the fact that, and I'm not sure if we have to maybe put in the motion that Mr. Nisley ensure that the water and the comments from our Public Works Department get incorporated. I don't know if that should be, or if it should be dealt with at the building permit level. And from what you're saying, Jody, it would appear that that's where we should deal with it. But that would be really my only concern, that he at some point not want to deal with, because it'll likely be 2 different tenants and have to deal with, the utilities in this manner. But that again is not, I don't know that that's our preview. Corey, Donald, anything?
No, like you, oh, go ahead, Don.
Haven't, I looked at the property, everything's pretty tight on it there. From the side lots and measurements that you can look at. You haven't got no stakes to keep track of it, so, but in hopes, I guess, they didn't have this piece of paper there on the comments at the time. But I guess he's gonna take his parking up on the front side of the property, right? Yeah, so.
Absolutely.
That was my only concern, where they're gonna park on the back lane. Is there restricted parking on that back lane, Jody?
I'm not sure, but I know just based on the setbacks of the building, you wouldn't be able to park there without encroaching into the lane itself. So
Yeah.
you are going to be limited to the front yard, and hopefully it doesn't become a problem when people trying to park there. I guess that's the only issue. Maybe Stan would have to step in and help with that to make sure they park in the designated area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it could become a problem with snow plowing, eh? If they decide in the wintertime especially, where things get really tight. And he only has 1.8 meters there on the rear lot setback, right, Donald?
not very much.
I did see, when I took a look, I did see there was actually 3 vehicles parked in front of the trailer unit. So it looks like there is 3 spots there, parking spots, not 2. Regardless, they only need 2, but all 3 had a vehicle in them. So I'm not sure how that's going to work,
No.
trying to rent out a secondary unit.
I don't
But
know.
that's not my problem.
No, I- Okay, no, I have no comments on it then, other than that.
Thanks, Donald.
Okay,
It seems everything's been taken care of. It looks like Jody's on it with the parking and the water and sewer to secondary unit. That'll have to be dealt with Stan Nisley. So to me, everything's, besides that, the building already exists. It was pre-existing before our bylaws came into effect. So I think it'll be a great addition to the community. So I'm all for it.
Yes, we certainly need the housing, that's for sure. Mr. Nisley, before we put this motion on the floor, is there any comments or anything that you'd like to add to your application?
The only thing I'd like to add is that I've already gone to Hydro, asked them about separately metering the 2 properties, and they said it's not a problem. And they'll work with me next spring to get that done. Water and sewer, I realized that I'd have to put a backflow preventer on it, and it'll have to be a pump up system, and that's fine. I'm prepared to deal with that.
Okay, and you're prepared to deal with the fact that utilities will have to be part of your rental? And that would be something, yeah, that you need to deal with on the financial side, right?
That's not a concern. Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate your consideration.
okay. So if there's no other comments or concerns to share, I have a motion on the floor. And I guess the only thing that, and maybe Jody, you can help us out here. The only thing I would then ask is, should we include reference to Public Works in the comments, or should we leave them at this point to the building permit process?
I think in regards to the parking, it wouldn't hurt to just kind of put a little something in there regarding parking on the York Street side. But as for the backflow preventer, that's an Ontario Building Code requirement, so I think we can safely leave that to the building permit process.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so then I have a motion on the floor, and that motion is going to be moved by whom?
Donald?
Moved by Donald Finlan and
Second
seconded
by-
by Corey. Mr. Corey Lego, perfect. The minor variance application M07-2020 be approved in accordance with the sketch that is provided with the application, and that the following variances to the following sections be approved. That is number 1, 4.29, to permit a secondary dwelling unit on a lot within R2 zone that does not meet the minimum standard required in order for a secondary dwelling unit to be permitted. The subject property does not meet the minimum lot frontage and lot area for the R2 zone. That's a minimum 15-meter lot frontage and minimum lot area of 540 square meters. A secondary dwelling unit within an accessory building is only permitted on lots that meet these minimum standards in the R2 zone. The subject property has a lot frontage of 10 meters and a lot area of 460 square meters. Secondly, 4.293, to permit a secondary dwelling unit that exceeds 40% of the gross floor area of the primary dwelling unit. The existing detached garage, which is being converted, is 47 square meters, and the existing mobile home is 61 square meters. The secondary dwelling unit is proposed, and it is 77% of the gross floor area of the primary dwelling unit, so it's significantly higher. And number 3, 4.294, to permit a secondary dwelling unit that is located 1.8 meters from the rear lot line where the minimum of 3 meters is required. And there is a notation on that third approval, minor variance approval, per Public Works Department, no parking will be allowed on the rear lot line where there is no minimum lot setback achieved. Are we okay with that wording?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So all those in favor? Perfect, it's carried. I hope you can read my chicken scratch. Okay. So then, is there any old business? Either Kristen or Sylvia, any old business?
There is no old business.
I see though we have some new business. Always good to see new business.
Yes, we do. We have a consent application for 673 and 675 Drayton Road. And we have scheduled a committee of adjustment meeting for January 26th. It's a Tuesday.
Have you heard back from all the members on whether they're available on that date?
Yes, everyone's available.
Okay. Perfect.
Are we gonna be in
Okay.
lockdown still?
According to the announcement that I heard today from the province, yes, we
Mhm.
are. So we'll be doing the meeting, holding it by Zoom. I'm assuming nothing changes. And
Okay.
and we'll just do the best we can.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments from my committee members?
No, I'm good with it. Thank you.
I'm good, thanks.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a motion then on the floor to adjourn the meeting, and that needs to be moved by
Corey?
And on.
Corey Lego, seconded by Donald Benlin,
Yep.
and all those in favor that the Committee of Adjustment meeting of January 12th is adjourned. 5:26. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Take care.